Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. I want to review another Sucreabeille fragrance called Blood Drunk. And let me I have the notes here. And what I want to do is just kind of give you guys my impression on these. And remember, when it comes to fragrances, you know, not every fragrance everybody's going to like. You know, there are so many houses out there making fragrances that are, you know, pretty safe and kind of mass appealing, and there's companies who make fragrances that are really kind of hard to wear. I've experienced many companies like that. I mean, there's a few by zoologists that are extremely difficult to wear that I'm very off-put by, that are very animalic. And there's fragrances like this, and this is one that I absolutely cannot stand. This is Blood Drunk. And so the notes on this are juicy red fruit, pomegranate apple, black cherry, dark rum, dragon's blood, and cherry tobacco, and a hint of blood accord. So a lot of the fragrances done by Sucreabeille are kind of inspired with this kind of story. And sometimes I feel like, you know, sometimes companies, it's almost like you don't know which came first. Was it the fragrance or was it the story? And then they made a fragrance around that. And I feel like sometimes that does kind of, I guess, yield fragrances kind of like this. Now, again, this is all very subjective. Whew, man, that's, oof, God, it's bad. You know, in my opinion, this is one, I mean, I don't know who would wear this. This to me, let me just, one more time. Yeah, so, alright, so to me, this is like, when I see notes like dark rum, I automatically think like, alright, this is gotta be kind of boozy, kind of like a, you know, a kind of, and tobacco, you know, because a lot of those notes like tobacco and rum, I generally like in fragrances. With this, to me, this smells like cherry cough syrup. So, to me, this fragrance is like, you know, you've been sick in bed for a week, and you've been, you know, drinking cherry cough syrup and you spilled it all over yourself, and now you're getting out of bed walking around. This is a terrible fragrance. In my opinion, this is not something I would even dare to try to wear. And I feel like, yeah, I just don't see where the connection is with the whole name Blood Drunk. You know, this to me, it just doesn't have, you know, when I think of like fragrances that might have, you know, blood, like bull's blood, you know what I mean? The idea, like by imaginary authors, the idea in that is not necessarily that it smells anything like a bull's blood or that there is any kind of like blood in it. But when we think of like, oh, that's, you know, that guy's warm-blooded, or man, I'm feeling really hot, I'm warm-blooded. It's almost like a description that we refer to somebody who's, you know, hot all the time. You know what I mean? They're just sweating. And so I think that something like you know, something like imaginary author's bull's blood, it's kind of like, that's going to be kind of a leathery fragrance, and it's what you'd imagine, like, man, I got bull's blood running through my body. You know what I mean? It just kind of has like, I'm going to smell like a leathery kind of vibe. You know what I mean? This would have been better to be named like something like, you know, drunker's blood or something like that, if they're trying to reference like the dark rum and kind of a boozy scent. But to me, I just get, you know, straight up, I don't know what dragon's blood is. I think these are just kind of fictitious notes that they, or imaginary notes that they tie to their story. So I just think sometimes they write a story and they kind of come up with a fragrance that might like be related to that story. And this is one that I just don't recommend. I mean, again, you know, by all means, get samples, check it out if it's something that sounds interesting. If you like juicy red fruit, pomegranate apple, black cherry, dark rum, dragon's blood, and cherry tobacco, I just think there's just too much cherry in this. And I think that, you know, cherry's a tough note. You really got to be careful with cherry, because if it's, again, there's too much cherry, this to me, if I were to put this side by side with some cherry like Benadryl or cough syrup, that's what it would smell like. And I don't think that's really a scent that most people want to smell like. Definitely not me. So I don't recommend this. I mean, this is not one that I'm ever going to wear, but it is one I could talk about, and I do encourage you to check out their brand. Like I said, with any kind of fragrance review, just because I don't like something doesn't mean you won't like it. And of course, there are so many different fragrances. You have 275 to choose from, and if anything, fragrances like this will bring recognition, whether I like it or not, to their brand, and you could check it out and see what might work for you. I love the fact that this company actually does very small samples. So if you want to get the 1 ounce size, let me see how much it is here. So, oops, sorry, 1 ounce size of the dram. Let's see how much the dram is. 1 millisample. So a sample vial is $8. So I don't know. You know, I think that's a little steep for a sample vial. The dram is $17. You know, to me, there's a lot of fragrances you can buy out there that are God, stuff's even getting in my nose. There's a lot of fragrances you can buy out there in the $15 to $20 price range that are fantastic. They may not have, the quality as far as the eau de parfum concentration or the perfume oil concentration, but you'll smell good, and I just don't think this is something that most people are going to like. But by all means, let me know if you have this. Let me know what you think about this. I always appreciate the journey of learning about fragrances and smelling them. It's always kind of fun to see what perfumers are going to put their nose on. Like I said, there's a lot of daring stuff out there, and ultimately it's up to you to decide on what you like. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day, and take care.